Welcome to the MusicWideOpen podcast
The place for an honest and thought-provoking conversation
about music,
business,
life,
technology,
and the future,
for curious music enthusiasts.
and musicians seeking personal growth. I'm Ingo Wunder.
And I am Paulina Wunder. In this episode, we'll talk about an innovative and, shall we say, revolutionary AI feature for pianists and piano lovers called Musical DNA, which is now available on musicaldna.me and on our platform apasio.com. The development of Musical DNA took over 2.5 years of daily work of our team, including weekends and holidays, and the work itself took thousands of hours. How did we come about it? How does this AI work? What is so special about it? Why did we do it? We will omit the details of the work process on this AI due to our copyright and the copyright of the ETH Zurich, our main partner in crime. However, we will share some interesting insights. Ingolf and myself were the initiators and creators of the idea. But in order to bring this idea to life, we needed a team. And of course, we needed the right budget to be secured. Our team consisted of many people, including specialists from several fields. Technical team from the already mentioned ETH Zurich, that is Swiss Federal Institute of Technology Zurich, which is, as of 2024, the best European university. It has 22 Nobel Prize laureates among its alumni and faculty, including Albert Einstein. We were also supported by the Swiss Data Science Center. And in our team, we had also psychologists from another Zurich-based institution, Kaleidos University. And last but not least, the most important, our music team members, music collaborators, and music advisors, including as well some of the finest pianists. Ingolf, since you were the team leader who not only put his whole heart in this project but also assured smooth and clear communication within the team, made sure all aspects of the work were properly covered, I will suggest we make a Q&A session. Is that okay?
Pleasure.
This way we'll avoid chaos. We are both passionate about this project, so without a clear structure, which is question and answer, we would fall into a way too long monologue. Okay, Musical DNA, what is it?
Well, it is an AI, or let's call it an advanced AI-powered tool designed to analyze and assess piano performances in terms of its interpretations. It offers detailed feedback in comparison to grandmaster ancestry of the performances. This is how we call it, grandmasters. These are the best pianists of the late 19th and 20th century. And it enables pianists, or should hopefully will enable pianists, students, and enthusiasts in general to discover how playing styles or their own playing style aligns with the stylistic nuances of these grandmasters. And we aim to deepen their understanding and at the end of the day, hopefully mastery of the art of interpretation.
Also to preserve the styles.
Absolutely. This goes without saying. Thank you for bringing that up. Preservation is in these times extremely important because out of own experience, I was often shocked to hear that the young pianists, or let's call it piano students already, that finished their studies, that have never heard about who Friedman, Cortot, or Kochalski was, and this is like, if you, as you mentioned Einstein, if a physicist wouldn't know who Einstein is, and so preservation is of course included and very important.
We'll come to that a little bit later. Is it easy to use Musical DNA?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a key thing. For us, it's a one-button solution. I mean, a little bit more than one button, but not so much more. It's very simple. People upload an audio file of their own playing or somebody else's playing, and it supports all popular formats, MP3, WAV, etc. And there's a simply, choose the file, choose a title, but it chooses also the title for you if it's in the meta tags. And then you upload, and that's it.
Yeah. First of all, they go to musicaldna.me or apasio.com. This is where they can actually find the upload button, first of all.
Correct.
And who can use the musical DNA?
As I already mentioned, some clientele, of course, piano students, of course, hobby pianists, all sorts of pianists, because it's for piano music right now. Well, basically everybody that's interested in discovering the grandmaster ancestry of piano music, let's call it.
Of his interpretations.
Exactly. As long as you have an audio file that belongs to you, and you have played it, you can simply upload it, and that's it.
What one has to do in order to use musical DNA? How does it work in detail?
Well, right now it's for piano music only. And for classical music, but it works for any repertory.
And what happens if someone uploads his contemporary or pop piano interpretation? Can he also find his musical DNA in there?
Absolutely. The great thing is that we taught the AI to learn the essence of an interpretational style. That means it will work basically for any piano music. And it will just give its best guess as to what kind of root style, so to speak, is in the music that is uploaded. It doesn't matter what kind of music it is.
It's similar in that sense to our genes. You can live in this or the other country, but genetically we can track your ancestry, in that case, musically speaking, to other genres.
Exactly, because even if it's a pop piano interpretation, who knows, maybe one finds the root of where that particular interpretation actually has or did come from.
Yeah. And what happens if a user uploads a video?
No problem. The system will just take the audio track of the video, and the video is not stored. So it will just do its magic on the audio file. And especially important that is for mobile devices like iPhones and Androids, where you could just simply pick from the photo folder your video, and as I said, the audio will be just taken.
And what happens if a user uploads, let's say, only a fragment of a piece?
Doesn't matter at all. It will just analyze the fragment, but of course, to be fair to oneself, it should be long enough for the machine to actually catch the essence, so it should be over 30 seconds, I would say.
The best if one uploads, of course, the full piece.
Of course.
Or a full movement if it's a sonata.
Yeah.
Not 30 seconds of, let's say, Beethoven sonata, but the full movement.
Yep.
Or the full piece if he wants to get to know more details.
Exactly.
And let's maybe say, how long does it take to analyze an uploaded file?
Well, this depends on the length of the piece, of course, and on the traffic that will be there in general. But it should be no longer than 1 minute processing time for 1 minute of audio. So it means, in fact, as long as the piece is. It can be much faster than that, but this is what one should expect at the beginning. But no worries, it will be displayed how long it will take during the assessment, and even if it takes really long for a very long piece, then even an email is sent when it's over, when it's done.
So a user doesn't have to wait in front of the computer in order to...
No, of course not.
Yes.
No. But it should be really quick if it's a shorter piece, so there's no need to wait too long.
What does the user see in the analysis of the file that was uploaded?
Once the assessment is done, you see basically an audio waveform, so if you call it an audio player, which one can play back like a normal player. And in this waveform you will have colored regions that show you the percentages of your best DNA matches of the grandmasters. And if you click anywhere on the player, you will see of that second detailed percentages of such DNA results, so to speak. And so the analysis is very simple. Just play back, also with a space bar, by the way, like a normal player. And these sections that you play back, you will see the percentages. And so you can, go second by second or section by section and analyze your playing. So to give you a real-life example, if you, for example, upload the Chopin Mazurka, you might get however you play, but you can get, for example, 40% Rubinstein, 20% Hadashevich, 5% Friedman, or whatever, and see exactly where that is. And you also get a uniqueness factor percentage.
Let's maybe explain what one can understand by uniqueness percentage.
Yes, so it means that in the playing styles of the grandmasters, your way of playing wasn't used much, and you will see that value in percentage. This means the way you play is sort of unique. The quality of such playing is, of course, another matter. So if you play very well and it isn't matched, so to speak, I mean, if your uniqueness factor is high, that is, in my humble opinion, a great thing, because it means you play amazing and you are yourself. But of course, if you play very badly and it isn't matched because you play very badly, well, then it's unique also.
Also, it can mean that your interpretation is so complex that the best way to analyze it and assess for the musical DNA is to give you the biggest percentage of uniqueness.
Yes, and one can always cut it down to, let's say, smaller snippets or longer snippets to see if it catches your unique playing style more or less.
Musical DNA is meant for users' own files, own interpretations, but what happens if one uploads as a test an interpretation of, let's say, Rubinstein? Will the results show 100% Rubinstein?
Well, it might, I mean, exactly 100%, very hard, I will tell you why. But it might also not be very high because, as it always is and was, pianists, teachers, mentors influence each other. So it might be that, example, one particular piece of Rubinstein has a lot of Arau in it, or Cortot, or Friedman, or Hoffmann, or whatever, in certain pieces or sections. Or for example, Cortot students might have some Cortot influences in them, and therefore it can be 100%, it can be 90%, high 90s, but also one is surprised. Sometimes we were surprised actually, and it was always correct when the Rubinstein interpretation came back with 40% Rubinstein, and whatever, 30% this, 20% this, 10% this. But then when listen to it, our expert team listened to it and I think, wow, yeah, actually, yeah, correct.
Even more, one has to understand the musical DNA as really a tool that assesses musical style genetics. It of course doesn't mean that this or the other grandmaster copied from someone else his interpretation. Absolutely not. No. It's as with genes. We have the same sets of genes. Here it's about musical style genetics, which can overlap as well with someone else.
Absolutely, and it's always how these genes are put together, right?
Yes.
So therefore the tool is designed for piano students really to go into detail, to really check the detail analysis in these 20 seconds here, 30 seconds there, and see, because it's actually the work of a pianist nowadays, classical pianist anyway, or maybe always has been. We work on the tiniest little details of how to make this phrase nice, how to make this more speaking, this more round, this more sharp, or whatever, and therefore one can go exactly into these details and see what is my match, and then you can immediately go to that pianist and see how the pianist plays, and so improve your playing.
And secondly, you can understand yourself more, get to know yourself, you're playing more.
Exactly.
Okay, but now someone could ask, or let's say someone gets the musical DNA assessment of his piece or someone else's, and would say, yeah, well, actually, I don't agree with this assessment. It's not like that. What can we say to this?
The first thing is to check. I mean, we were actually, as I said already in the Rubinstein example, in many cases when we tested it, really surprised. So we were not really happy with the results. Often I think like, really? Is that like this? But then we went into detail. We checked the detail sections and checked how the person that was suggested by the AI actually plays, and we figured out that, yeah, it's really similar. And so the machine was very, very rarely wrong.
The other thing is that unlike a human being, the machine or the AI that we're presenting is an objective feature. Human beings have a tendency that one day you listen to something and you feel, okay, this reminds me of that. And the other day, depending on your mood or weather,
It might differ.
It might differ. Your own assessment might differ. There's no such a way with this AI. And it has been checked thoroughly as well and guided by our large team that worked on it, that it is this way. So there is no subjectivity, only objectivity.
Correct.
Okay, but let's go back to some questions. Let's say I upload my interpretations of a couple of different piano pieces. Is my musical DNA a summary of these interpretations, or each piece has its own DNA?
Well, generally, of course, each piece has its own DNA, but checking a couple of your interpretations is, of course, a good way to check oneself in general. So if all your pieces are matched to different people, for example, one can review why that is. And similarly, if it's matched to the same or to similar people all the time, the latter could tell that you have indeed your unique style, for example, if it's not too similar to somebody else overall. But if, for example, it's always different people, then, it might be that you play different composers in a different style, or which can be, again, good or bad. It always depends on the situation.
Or you're influenced by different
exactly
masters.
But it's a good way as well to check your consistency overall of your views and your tastes.
That's true. But generally speaking, every musical piece will have its own DNA.
Exactly.
So, okay, me as a user, I see my DNA analysis, and do other musical DNA users see my results?
No. But you can share, of course, your results on social media if you wish to do so. But your results are completely private if you don't share them.
Okay, and how do I share my results?
There will be a share button on the top right corner, and so it's 2 clicks away from having it on any platform.
And let's add here what is being actually shown in these results.
In the social media posts is, of course, only the general assessment, so meaning
the percentage.
The top 3 picks of your percentages, so the top 3 influences, and the uniqueness factor.
What is the point of musical DNA?
Well, as I outlined at the very beginning, the point is to help young pianists to find their style and to deepen their understanding of playing styles and differences of playing styles and interpretations. And with this, of course, a big part of the Western musical culture that we have been creating, and we as a society have been creating so amazingly in the last, 150 years, and which is threatened to be forgotten. And so this is a big mission of ours. And don't forget, the interpretation is the most important factor in classical music. As we pianists play old music that has been played so often over the last 200 years. And the emphasis is therefore, or should be, for every classical piano student and pianist, the interpretation. And the interpretation, how you play things, should determine if somebody makes career or not. This was, this was always so during the golden age of the piano. That's why we got these wonderful interpretations that we all still not only enjoy, but sometimes copy, sometimes badly copy. So it's to educate young pianists. That's the main goal. But of course also to, maybe not to use the word educate, but to widen the horizons of musicians in general, of maybe promoters if they want to check people, maybe teachers, maybe jury members or whatever. Everybody with a passion for classical piano music and who wants to get to know where the roots of all this is coming from.
Yeah, it's mostly about passion, obviously. And let's face it, it's fun to find out one's own musical ancestry. Mm-hmm. I would like to add one more thing here. Ingolf and myself, we both believe that it is important to do everything that is in one's power in order to take care of the legacy of the past, and that is the styles of the old piano school, and to save it from oblivion. Many names of some wonderful pianists, grandmasters of the piano, are already partly forgotten or completely unknown to younger generations of pianists or piano students. And this is quite unbelievable.
It is, because sometimes, young pianists think they just did something new or invented some new way of playing something, but they just simply don't know that it has been done already.
That's true.
And this is also, for example, one thing one can find out with musical DNA.
Exactly. Now imagine an architect today who doesn't know his predecessors or past styles. This is exactly what happens in music. Pianists sometimes forget they are the architects of the sound, of proportions. They would only benefit from knowing more what the grandmasters did and how, as architects benefit from knowing the past, knowing the roots. Familiarity with the past improves an architect's ability to create harmonious structures and make informed aesthetic choices. Exactly the same with pianists and other musicians. Awareness enriches our understanding of ourselves and propels us forward in life.